Good evening, everybody. Here we go again. Welcome to the Scottish Football Social Club and Premier Sports after a weekend full of Scottish Cup action and ahead of a midweek card, which could have a massive impact on the destination of the title. And, of course, among those games, the Edinburgh Derby live only on Premier Sports. Cannot wait for that tomorrow night. Even Michael might be excited for this one. Is that fair, Michael?
Well, you're trying to suggest that I wouldn't normally be excited. Of course.
I've just tried to get a wee bit more out of you, okay? I feel as if you're almost flatlining at 20% here. Me, Al, we think we could get you to about 80 this week.
Well, maybe. It's a huge game. I mean, it's a massive game anyway. One of the biggest in the Scottish football calendar. But with everything that is riding on the games that are coming thick and fast, I mean, a game against your nearest rivals at home for Hearts to extend the lead at the top of the table and apply pressure onto them who are playing the next night. I mean, it's a huge game. Absolute cracker in store, I would imagine.
Absolutely. And we'll come back to it in detail a bit later on. But Al, what about you? Is the chirpy best back this week, Al? Because last week, some Ibrox stouts from you 7 days ago.
That's 7 days is long in football. Things can change very quickly. So really looking forward to this week. I think it's going to shape how the league's going to turn out, in my opinion. So looking forward to a massive game tomorrow. And then obviously the game's Wednesday. And then an even bigger game come the weekend. So can't wait. Next week it could look totally different. It could look totally different next week, possibly.
He was a wee bit excitable earlier on, wasn't he, Darrell? You know?
Well, I just gauged a dip last week, if I'm honest.
Oh, no, there's no doubt.
This week he's back.
Oh, well, just before we came on air, he was a wee bit excitable there. 7 days is a long time in football. Even longer time in politics, to be fair. He was like Keir Starmer there, hearing that Anna Sarwar has told him he needs to leave, knowing that's safe as houses now. Safe as houses.
Right, I know.
I did hear about that today, but politics is not our bag, Al, is it?
Darrell, I've been on the roller coaster all season, so just let me enjoy the highs, all right? And just let me keep on climbing up until the next step, and then we'll take it from there.
You've been on that roller coaster for 40 years. Anyway, come on. Let's get into some of the football. Quick mention of the sponsors, of course. First of all, the Scottish Football Social Club is brought to you in association with SBK and Premier Sports. SBK is a betting app that cuts out the nonsense, just straight up sports betting for folk who actually care about the game. Proper odds, no gimmicks. Shall we start with the action then, as it happened over the weekend, Michael? Friday night, first game up was Airdrie against St Mirren, and the big cup double is still on for the Saints this season. Yeah. Michael, they found a way.
Yeah, absolutely. That was exactly it. I think is the fair assessment of it, that they found a way. And for Stephen Robinson and for St Mirren, these sorts of games, there are no doubt that they're difficult. They're never going to be easy, especially when they're just trying to find their rhythm and a bit of form. And to go 1-0 up, cracking, absolutely cracking goal to begin with. And then it just felt like, they were riding, not their luck, but it was a bit nervy. But ultimately, for them to be able to end up getting through to the next round, it pretty much is job done, cup double still on, and it gives them a wee bit of respite from the league at the moment as well, which obviously was a huge result for them last week that they'll be looking to build on.
Yeah, we saw some good goals in the game as well, Alan. It went the distance. Idubu, he tried, and finally one came off.
Yeah, he made the difference. Straight from the goalkeeper.
Good finish. A really good finish.
Michael, you'll know more than me how difficult it is to strike a ball coming over your shoulder and then go back across you. But Devaney, I think, as well, scored a wonder goal. I think he's looked good since he's come up here on loan from Manchester United. Technically very good, so another good addition for them. But it's all about just getting through. As Mikey says, these rounds, they're difficult. I mean, you don't see a lot between some of the teams on a one-off game. So it's always going to be hard, but they got it done.
No VAR, though. Cost Airdrie, Michael.
Yes, yep. But, I mean, do you want it?
Well, I'm not saying it's always been effective, but what about that penalty claim?
Yeah, I know. Yes, absolutely. But are you convinced that they would get it right?
Well, I'll tell you what, the referee should have got that right on the night.
I thought it was a penalty.
You should have. Aye, you're absolutely right. I think the ref should have got it, but I'm firmly in the camp now where I think the game would be better off just not having it involved. And
Mike, you can deal with those Mikey, you can deal with those situations. All right, you got that wrong, but you just kind of chalk it up, right? He's missed that one.
Yeah.
And then just play as normal. Right.
That's my view, as I'm sure we'll be talking about it later on again.
We will, I'm sure we will. It reminded me a wee bit of, do you remember the Euro, Stuart Armstrong, the penalty we never got Scotland, when he jumped across? It reminded me a little bit of that. It doesn't matter what the forward does. If he's in the position, he's in control of the situation. Do you know what I mean?
We see this narrative that built up in that game about how he jumped across. He did nothing about jump. He was running with the ball, stepped across the Hungarian defender, which is good flaming play, and got absolutely white. That was a scandal of epic proportions.
Darrell, you're just trying to wind him up this evening, aren't you?
I was just wondering if you'd forgotten that one, Al, to be honest, but obviously not. There was a wee similarity.
He doesn't forget anything.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't. So St Mirren next up, Partick Thistle, who won as well at the weekend. What a job Mark Wilson's doing there, Alan. I mean, not an easy place to go at all. Tough conditions as well. But again, finding the goals at the right time in the match, and then they get St Mirren next.
Yeah, I mean, it should be a real cracker of a tie. You think the long journey up north, bobbly pitch, doesn't kind of suit everybody, but they found a way. Plenty of goals, like a proper cup tie. And I think they went through it. They did deserve it. But to be fair, Elgin, part-time, lowest ranked club, gave them a scare. I mean, they got back into it twice and gave them a real scare. So I thought it was a overall good performance from them. I think they deserve to go through, but it just shows you that there's really good teams out there that can cause problems to top opponents. And now you look forward to the next round thinking against St Mirren, that's going to be a good tie to watch. But I'll think fair play to Elgin. I mean, sticking in it, showed character, getting back in the game. They just probably ran out a little bit of steam towards the end, and Partick Thistle take care of what they needed to and get through into the next round.
Yes, they did. Michael, you've seen a lot of Thistle this season. What do you make of the job Mark Wilson's doing and the team they have at hand?
Well, naturally, it's not a massive squad, but I like him. Stanmay, really good finish, the winning goal there. I like him. I think he's a good young player who's got a fair bit of quality for Mark Wilson's side. They're going to be knocking on the door, for automatic promotion, and there will be a real handful in the playoffs. But as Al was saying there, for Partick Thistle there, heading up to Borough Briggs, it's not the easiest of trips, and it is a proper sort of lower league setup for them to be in amongst a raucous crowd who were up for obviously the game. And for Elgin to be pegging them back 1-1, 2-2, credit to Partick Thistle. I mean, also, you've got to give a lot of credit to Elgin City because they made a real fight of it. I thought they were, pretty impressive. But credit to Partick Thistle for finding a way to get through, and the quality from Stanmay at the end there with the winning goal. I thought it was a cracking finish.
Who do you fancy in that next tie then, the quarters? St Mirren, Partick Thistle.
That's a very.
Let's hope it gets off the fence with this one.
What I was going to say was I would probably say that could go the distance, and one thing that would perhaps change my mind is to see if St Mirren are able to kick on after that result against Hearts in the league. Yeah. If they're not and they still continue to sort of stutter along, I would maybe fancy Partick Thistle, depending on what St Mirren do in the next few weeks leading up to it.
Yeah, and which players come back from injury as well. I think that was such an important result for St Mirren on Friday night, though, wasn't it, Alan, in the context of the season? Michael's right. You get the high of beating Hearts. It's what do you do next? Because they've had some okay results recently. I mean, not astonishingly good, but this is a better run now.
Yeah, I thought it was a great result for them. But I must admit, there was part of me, even when Halkett went off, that was thinking they're not going to score here. Like, so you're sitting watching the game and they're creating opportunities and they're getting balls into the box. But I just thought Hearts might just nick it, especially they'd been through that situation a couple of times before and came through the other end of it. But they didn't.
5 games now. 3 times
in
5
3
games.
and 5. So that's like, you're looking to their game tomorrow. You need to keep 11 men on the pitch, full stop. You can't be keep doing that, even though they have showed the quality. But yeah, I mean, St Mirren, just to get that over the line, gives them that confidence to beat the team at the top of the league. But they need to kick on. Mikey's right. They need to kick on now and try and make that separation bigger from the bottom.
Some games postponed over the weekend, as you know, Dundee United Spartans and Aberdeen Motherwell too. But Aberdeen Motherwell, when they finally play that game, the winner will take on Dunfermline. Neil Lennon, you saw what his side did against Hibs. So I guess the pressure was on this time, Michael, not to let up and make sure no cup surprise. And I think just listening to Neil Lennon after the game, the two things that struck me, how pleased he is for his team to go on a cup run like this, but also I think they got better as the game went on. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, look, obviously it was a bit of a local derby there against Celtic, so there would be a certain degree of trepidation in that there was a potential banana skin for them coming up against the Fife rivals at home is the key thing, and it's the same in the next round if whoever it is that they're potentially coming up against, for them have the chance to have them at East End Park is a big one, because they're capable. Hibs have seen it already. They're a typical what you would class as Neil Lennon side. They're full of endeavour. They've got a fair bit of quality in there as well. Obviously, Kane coming up with a couple of goals there, but it's a huge one. We were Lenny was doing the Celtic Auchinleck Talbot game in the last round, and then the tie was obviously the draw was being done after the game, and I can sort of obviously divulge now. He wasn't keen to do it at the time, but he was absolutely delighted with the tie. One, because it was a bit of a rivalry, so there was a bit of an edge to it, but also the fact, most importantly, it was a home tie. So likewise, next round, obviously a lot more difficult potential opponent, but I think they'll view that as a wee bit of a potential carrot there for them, a scalp to go and get another top flight team.
It was disappointing to lose Aberdeen Motherwell. It was supposed to be live, as you know, in Premier Sports, Alan. So it was disappointing to lose it at the weekend. We will see it again, of course, in the coming weeks. But I think how can I say this in the right way? I think the postponement might have suited the Dons. New players coming in, still no manager. And I'm not for 1 minute suggesting the pitch was playable, but I think it possibly did suit the Dons. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, possibly. I mean, gives them more time to work in things and get things right and get their head on it. I mean, they're coming up against a Motherwell side that's flying. They very rarely concede goals. They keep clean sheets. They're good at the other end. They know exactly what they're doing. Even away from home, they'll continue to play the same way. So I think it's a very difficult tie for Aberdeen. One that's very intriguing to see how it plays out, but we're going to have to wait for it. So it is a shame that it was called off. It was live in Premier, but we'll see it soon enough.
Darrell, very comfortable, far away from the northeast, and he's passing assertions that there's some sort of dodginess going on. Is that what you're?
I wasn't suggesting that. All I was saying was potentially, if there was any doubt over the pitch and it's getting played at my home venue, I might suggest, that the things hadn't improved a lot. And maybe in a couple of weeks' time, things will be a lot better. Pick-wise, manager-wise, new signings-wise.
They were under snow for about a month. Now they've not had a dry day in the next month. It's been incredible. I
did read at one point, I think I heard at one point, there was 12 days in a row without sunshine in the Granite City, which is, says it all. Anyway, listen, no conspiracy theories on this show, other than the odd one we give every week. Right, onwards then. And by the way, what an opportunity for Aberdeen and Motherwell when that does come around, that tie, because, Dunfermline away, very tough fixture, but it could be harder on paper, Alan, and with the Old Firm as well, drawing, in the quarters and playing each other in the quarters.
Yeah.
What an opportunity for everyone else. Aberdeen are the cup holders.
Yeah, of course. I think everybody still in at this moment in time will fancy themselves to have a good go at it. One of Rangers and Celtic needs to go out. I mean, we were just talking before, Celtic have one of the toughest schedules coming up, so it's obviously going to be very difficult for them. But everybody's going to be looking at it and seeing what Aberdeen done last year and thinking they've got an opportunity now. You just have to go and grasp it. There's not long left, so just go for it.
I was just surprised before we came on air, Al, that you knew Celtic's next 8 games.
Because I looked
it's almost like you've been studying this. Have you got it in front of you?
I do. I wrote
it's a
it
heck
down.
Of a run, isn't it?
It's a long. So I was just thinking, right? So Livy, Kelly, and then there's Stuttgart at home, Hibs at home, Stuttgart away, and then the 1st of March you've got Rangers. Midweek Wednesday, you're away to Aberdeen. And then you've got Rangers at Ibrox in the quarterfinals. And the 8th, I think football this year's just been brilliant. It's just thrown up all these fixtures, and it's just brilliant.
But you know what Martin O'Neill would be saying? He'd be saying better to be in these competitions.
Yeah,
amortise against Stuttgart. Listen, he's had some record, as you know, in Europe in the past. Why not again? Maybe it's just one of those weird seasons. Who knows? Celtic at the weekend then, Michael.
Hearts win the league.
This wasn't the end.
Hearts win the league. Rangers win the cup. St Mirren win the League Cup, and Celtic win the Europa League. Is that what we're thinking?
Is that you getting off the fence? Because
I was just
you've been on the fence for a
hypothesis.
number.
That was all.
Right, okay. So you're not there, right?
This season, though, why not? Anything could happen. It is that type of season, isn't it? Right, on to Celtic then. Celtic Dundee. Really enjoyed watching this cup tie, Michael. First of all, on Dundee, because I know it was agony in the end. I thought they were exceptional in the game. Absolutely exceptional. Some standout performances as well. Brave in the ball. Never went away from what Stephen Presley asked them to do. Right. I mean, I think it really shows the development in their team in the last couple of months.
Yeah, I don't think there's any doubt. And obviously, we spoke a lot previously about how they lacked any real cutting edge to the team. You know, they've gone to Celtic. They played with a back four, but they didn't look over odd. They didn't look like they were being cut wide open. We'll come back to this.
Yeah, we'll come back to it.
And they were threatening. You know, they were really threatening. Simon Murray obviously spoken about how he's now feeling like he's properly fit for the first time all season. And this man, Ethan Hamilton, just gets better and better. Thought he was outstanding in the game all round. And then that finish is just truly, you know, top drawer, outrageously good stuff. You know, the right back Halliday as well. Now, I know that in the end, he actually has blown a gasket for the goal. But you watch here, Kieran Tierney, look at him. When that ball gets played across the face of goals, first time, he's still in line with his defenders, but instinctively drops back in. Really good. Great finish from Madame.
What a brilliant introduction this is for a new striker in a football club, Al.
Great finish.
Yeah, of course. I mean, that's what you dream about when you sign for a club, that you come in and you want to hit the ground running and scoring goals. You know that's what Celtic need. That kind of goal, that's what Celtic probably haven't done enough this season. The quick 1-2s, the moving into the box, runs forward. And look, I felt for Dundee. I thought they put everything into it, and Mikey's spot on. Hamilton in midfield, Danda picking up good areas of the pitch, Congreve, Yogan, like they've got a real threat now. We worried about them, but you can actually see it all coming together now. And Elvis must be really happy of how it's going. Look, he'll be devastated that it went out, but they're trending in the right direction. But I just thought Celtic as well kind of huffed and puffed at time until later on when Dundee fell off it just ever so slightly, which is understandable.
It was a great cup tie, Michael, because it went right to the last kick there. I mean, there was drama to the very end, wasn't there?
Yep, absolutely. And I mean, Dundee didn't deserve to lose the game. You know, they really didn't. I thought they did more than enough to win the tie. And Celtic, I suppose the biggest sort of slap on the back is that they found a way to win yet again, somehow under Martin O'Neill. But I would imagine there'll be a wee bit of a concern from that. He's looking at you know, the team. They didn't create a great deal. They looked very sort of lethargic in the final third. He made changes at halftime, obviously trying to inject a little bit of tempo.
Made a huge difference when he came on.
He did. He made a huge difference. He did. But you know, Martin O'Neill will be wanting and looking and expecting a bit more consistency. I thought Chavanchara again was looking dangerous, but he didn't get. You know, he wasn't fed the ball enough. So I mean, look, for Celtic, it's very much fallen into the category of through to the next round, job done. But I would imagine there'll be a little bit of a concern for them that they're, especially at home there, they weren't more dominant. And I thought Dundee, as Al said, a lot of credit they deserve. Because we've spoken as well about how I thought Tony Docherty was harshly sacked last season.
Yeah.
I felt like they were creating more change than was needed because it felt like the club was actually moving in the right direction. They've brought in Stephen Presley, and they've had to change a lot of the players, but it looks like it is moving in the right direction again. And that's good.
Keeping Luke Graham, I think, absolutely crucial for the continued success. Scott Wright, I think, is going to need a few games to get up to speed, but Luke Graham was excellent in the match again, and the resolve was tested of the board, Michael. Yeah. But if you do want to build something, maybe you do keep a player like Luke Graham because you'll get more in the end anyway if he continues to develop.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, look, he's still very young, and I couldn't agree more that there's you don't need to be looking to sell in the January. And as much as obviously things are moving in the right direction, Dundee have still got to have one eye on the teams that are below them. They don't want to be getting dragged into it. But at the moment, it certainly feels and looks like they're moving upward. But I was just saying before, it's good because Dundee is, it's another one of those that was spoken about for long enough. They're a big Scottish club that for too long have been a yo-yo club in the last 15 years or whatever. So to make sure that they are season in, season out in the top flight, that's only good for Scottish football.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And it wasn't long ago. I still remember, some of the comments that we had on screen only, 6, 7, maybe a little bit more than that weeks ago. But Dundee fans were really concerned at that point, Alan. So I don't see many comments, popping up on the screen in the last few weeks. I think that tells you a lot.
But I think we all were. I mean, we're all kind of looking at the side and thinking, what are they? Because one week they were very defensive, then the next week they'd have a real good performance against, say, Celtic, and you'd thinking, okay, right, I can see what's going on. And then they would revert back, and it was like, can you find the balance? But I think it's just taking them a little bit of time for it all to gel, understand the players that are around about them. And I think we're seeing the development week in, week out now, which is a good thing. They're going in the right direction. So hopefully they'll start to pick up the wins that they need.
On Celtic then, Michael, look, it wasn't a great performance, like you said. They didn't create that much, certainly in the first sort of 90 minutes of the match. New signings arriving, Junior Adamu scoring late will help his confidence. Mvuka, I think, might need a bit of time as well, from what I saw. He only got 45 minutes. The reports weren't amazing from France this season either, some of the digging that I've done. So, maybe he's a player that needs a bit of time. But there's certainly some excitement in some of the new signings. And Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, unveiled ahead of the match. If he's fit, Michael, I've seen a lot of Oxlade-Chamberlain, obviously, in my sort of career working in football, interviewed him many times. He's such a positive influence. If he's fit, he immediately could become one of the top players in Scotland.
Aye, but he's not played since May.
I understand that, and that's why I'm saying the big if. But on paper, it looks like a really good signing, doesn't it?
100%. But I mean, look, it's like a lot of this falls into the category for Celtic of everything is a little bit short-termism, and where they're looking is for players who perhaps haven't had a great start to the season or have been without a club, which then makes it more difficult for them to have an impact quickly before the end of the season. So I get what you're saying, and I would agree with it.
Well, they've got all these competitions. I know he can't play in the Europa League, but I'm saying it's important, isn't it, when you've got that many games that Alan was running through?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there's a lot of them. Look, there's no doubt. Like you don't doubt the quality of Oxlade-Chamberlain. He's got unbelievable quality, but as Alan will tell you, if you're not fit and at it when you're playing, especially in Scotland, it's not ideal, far from ideal, because you've got folk breathing down your neck every 2 seconds. And I don't just mean with Oxlade-Chamberlain, I'm talking about like Mvuka as well. These guys that they're going to have to get up to speed pretty quickly.
Mikey, and see the thing as well. Like, you think the expectation that is on him at this moment in time, because all the Celtic fans will be looking at him and thinking, well, I knew what he was like 5-6 years ago. They're expecting that guy. And you can be out with an injury for 6 weeks and it takes you time to get up to speed. See, when you're out for 6-7 months, that's a whole different kettle of fish. And by all accounts, he was training with Arsenal.
It was.
Fair enough. And that's him keeping his fitness and ticking over. It's a lot different playing games. And like I said, the expectancy that's going to be on his shoulders will be a lot, but there's no doubt in the quality. If they can get him back to some sort of level that he used to be at, absolute brilliant signing.
So with all what you've just said, Alan, just briefly then, with all you've just said, is it a good signing for Celtic? Or do you have doubts then because of everything you've just made?
I think you would always have doubts. It doesn't matter how the player is, the quality. Like you look at Aaron Ramsey when he came to Rangers, it didn't quite work. The expectation on his shoulders was massive that he was going to be this guy that was playing 10 years ago, and it doesn't quite work out like that. Do I think obviously Chamberlain can get back to a level? Yes, of course I can. But it's not going to happen overnight. He's going to need maybe, I don't know, 3 weeks, 2 weeks, like to get anywhere close to match fitness. It might take longer than that.
What I was going to say, Darrell, was that, having looked at Chavanchara so far, he, to me, is, he's definitely got something. They need to keep playing to his strengths. And that to me seems like they need to feed him, get the ball into the box, His link-up play was actually really, really good against Dundee. Anytime it came into him, I thought he linked the game really well. And obviously the penalty, non-penalty incident as well that he was involved in, I thought was, another moment where he gets defenders on edge. I thought it was a little bit naive from Graham. Got too tight, arms in the back. And, I said it at the time, we've heard the reasoning and the sort of interpretation of the law, and I understand that. But as I said at the time, there's an argument that could be made that if I rest my hand on somebody's back, that's not a foul. It's once you actually force and push. And when you look at the incident, that happens with Chavanchara's foot on the line. It's a penalty kick.
Yeah.
I thought it was when I first seen it. I thought it was.
So the interpretation, though, just to be clear here for people at home, what we were told from VAR was if a push starts outside the box and continues in the box, you have to give the foul at the first point of contact in the push. But I'm exactly with you, Michael, on this. I don't think there was a push outside the box. I think there was hands are on the back.
Yes.
And then just as it happens, as he just got inside the box, it looks like that's when the push happened. So to me, it feels a wee bit like they found a way to make themselves right here.
But the weird thing is, you wouldn't have a go, you would never have a go at the referee and say, that's a shocker that he's missed it.
No, it was tricky.
No, exactly. That to me is a perfect example of what VAR is for. You're not having a go at the referee and saying, how did you not see that's in the box? It happens like that. It's so close. That to me is exactly what VAR's for. So rather than just backing up what the ref's given, look at it and objectively come to the decision. And I don't think they got it right. You sent through to me earlier on the incident down in England with Chelsea. I mean, that's even, by the way, when you actually look at it, that's worse because the push clearly starts outside the box. Yeah. The defender's arms are fully extended and he launches them into the box. So if you're following the interpretation that wee Willie Collum gave us, then it would appear that should have been a free kick. Mm. But it clearly wasn't. It was given as a penalty down there against Wolves.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Okay, on to Rangers Queen's Park then, Alan. Very different than 12 months ago this time.
Yeah, a little bit different.
Just a wee bit.
Just a little bit different. Look, Rangers made, 7 changes? They had a strong bench. I think everything was right in terms of the mentality, what they were looking for on the day, what Danny Rule was asking from them, and that was to be more decisive in the final third. He's questioned it in recent weeks. I think I have as well. But decision-making, when you get into these areas, I thought Naderi played well. Coming into the team, I thought he was a focal point. Not only that, he worked very hard. But after that, he was, can I get into the box? Can I get my head on things? And just over the pitch, I thought there was developments in terms of Romans coming in. I thought he linked up well with Ant-Man. He was getting round him, overlapping, underlapping. And when he was getting into an area, he was more often than not choosing the right play at the right time, and Rangers were very good from set plays. I thought they put Queen's Park under a lot of pressure, whipping balls in under Callum Ferry, asking him to go and deal with it. So look, there's a lot of good that come from the game. Of course, keeping a clean sheet, scoring 8 goals. People will look at that and say, well, you should be at home going out and scoring a number of goals, but you can only play what's in front of you. This was probably the pick of the goals for me in terms of the movement, everybody being involved, picking the right pass at the right time. So look, overall, a really good result. They scored 5 goals against Kilmarnock midweek, 8 there at the weekend. And that's what you want them to be doing, putting their foot to the floor, making the right decisions in the final third.
Apparently you had the final say as well, Alan, is that right? Because you were in co-coms over whether or not it was a hat-trick. And you
well,
hat-trick all day, apparently.
It kind of depends how you look at it. At one way I was thinking, right, it's on target. Well, I know Callum Ferry, just go and catch it, right? And I didn't want to give it to him, so I'm kind of like, let's take it away from him after everything he'd done last year and everything, and conceding the goals. I was thinking, right, just let Tav have it.
Yeah. If Alan was in VAR, it'd be chaos, by the way, Mikey.
I think that's 150 goals he scored, by the way. That is phenomenal.
Yeah. As a right back, Alan, no one will appreciate this more than you.
Oh my goodness, absolutely. I think I got 5 in my career. He scored 150. That's ridiculous.
One was from the halfway line, Al.
That's true.
So you got 5 Huts?
Something like that.
No, don't worry.
It's a guess. But
I wouldn't worry,
in the ballpark.
145 of Taverniers are penalties anyway, so I wouldn't worry.
I knew you were on the wind up there. I could see he's obviously had that noted down for a few weeks there, Alan, and he thought this is the week. Right, on some of the new signings for Rangers, because obviously 8 goals, really good display. You can see the steps they've made forwards as well, albeit it was an easy day for them after the early goal. But some of the new players, I think, making an early impression. You mentioned Nadiri. I hear a lot of Ali McCoist this season when he's done some of the Rangers European games, when he talks about the lack of sort of natural instinct in the Rangers forward line. The strikers, particularly Chermiti, who seems so raw at times, and hearing Ali saying things that you're not making the run across the near post, the simple movement. Nadiri, I know it was Queen's Park, I know it was Rangers, I know it was an easy day, but he does seem to have that more striker instinct, if you like, about him. And it's early days, I get it, but that would be an encouraging sign, wouldn't it?
Absolutely. I think he probably could have had a couple more. I thought he showed good movement. He was getting across the defender to the kind of near post at times. He just missed the target once or twice, or he was pulling back out, waiting for a cutback. But as well, getting balls into the box, he was aggressive. When there was a ball there to be won, like you seen, all right, the first goal, he's at the back post, get the freedom Ibrox, but the next one, he's more aggressive. He understands where the ball's going, and he goes and heads it and wins it. But I think it's his overall play. Yes, he will go and link, or he'll run in behind. But once he's done that, he's not admiring his pass and thinking, all right, that was a good move. It's, can I get between the posts and can I get on the end of it? And that's what Rangers have been crying out for. There's a real opportunity to go and grab the number 9 shirt, if you want, and really stake a claim. And he's definitely done that. And I know people look at the opposition, but again, you can only play against who's in front of you. And I thought he looked good.
That was
as well.
Go on, Michael.
That was just going to say that, Alan's made that point a couple of times there, and it's the pertinent point for me is that it's a sort of tying game that you're not going to win much in terms of plaudits, but see, in the dressing room, that'll just be another little, shift forward, feeling like, moving in the right direction. 8 goals to start to feel like they're a side that are capable of scoring enough goals from open play, because clearly that is a question mark that's been hanging over them. So as much as all these things get taken into consideration, I think that was a very positive weekend for Rangers.
Yeah.
Granted, it was against Queen's Park, who were pretty poor, but I think Rangers did everything and more that they could have to feel like the confidence has grown for them.
I mentioned some of the new signings. Chikwani obviously looks like his presence in midfield is going to help Alan, because they were a bit lightweight at times this season, especially in some of the European matches. What about Ant-Man? Got another opportunity at the weekend. Do you still believe, Alan, that he can be a success at Rangers?
I'm not sure. But don't get me wrong, I think he linked up with Romans well at times because Ant-Man always wants to drive inside, and I think he needs to mix his game up. I said it in commentary.
Yeah,
you just know what he's going to do. He's going to try and jink inside, and if you've not got an overlapping fullback, it's kind of easy to read and just mix it up. He's can be one-dimensional at times, but I think there's something there. There is a player in there, but I just don't see him showing it enough. I think we see it at times like that game there, perfect example, getting on the ball and driving inside and maybe going to the byline once in a blue moon and clipping in across. It looks good, but I think when you go up the levels, you're playing against better opposition, you're not going to get away with that. I mean, I could see sitting in the stand exactly what he was trying to do, so like everybody else can see that. So I think at this moment in time, there's better options.
Who's your team for Wednesday night, Huts?
Oh, good question.
Oh.
Come on, let's go through, Al. Come on, we've got time tonight. Let's give you one.
He clearly wasted all his time looking at Celtic's fixture list. You don't be thinking Wednesday night. What's your team?
I think Scov Olsen will play.
Hold on, let's go 1 to 11 here. Are you having Butland in goals?
Yes.
Who's your right back?
Tavernier, I think, will play.
Centre halves?
Suter and Fernandez is still out, isn't he?
No, he might be back apparently.
Well,
so Fernandez, if he's fit, is that who you're saying?
If not, it'll be Jigger and then Romans, and then I'd play Chakwane and Raskin. I'd probably play Diamandi in front of them. Scov Olsen. Then I'd go
Gassama,
Moore and Naderi.
Okay, Naderi up top. Do you think he'll start Asgard?
I just said
possibility.
I know. I'm not. I'm saying. I was asking Alan. Does he think the manager will play Asgard? He seems to a lot of the big games.
He probably will, but I'm just thinking, in my opinion, if I was picking a team, I'd probably play Diamandi just a wee bit forward.
So how genuinely, Alan, how high are your expectations for the week ahead for Rangers? Because two really tough fixtures, Motherwell and then Hearts. What do you think you honestly believe the outcome could be here? 6 points.
No,
that's your hope.
I'm just trying to light him up. This is a massive week. Like, in all seriousness, I'm under no illusion that going to Fir Park, like, that's going to be very difficult. We've seen what they can do and what they're capable of. If they can get through that with 3 points, listen, I think they're capable of winning. But also, I know Motherwell are as well. So it's who fancies it more on the night. And if Rangers can get through that, and then Hearts at the weekend at Ibrox, I think Rangers win that.
And the cup draw then, Alan, how happy were you? Rangers at home against Celtic, but also, I guess, in the run of games that Celtic have. Was that the right time for you, do you think, for Rangers to take on Celtic, given what's, all these games coming thick and fast at the moment?
Yeah, I mean, well, possibly. I mean...
was it the right time for you? I mean, are you happy with that draw now?
Yeah, I don't see why not. I mean, the draw's the draw. You have to play whoever gets picked out against you. So I'm fine. I'm happy that it's at home, if I'm totally honest. I think being at Ibrox, of course, gives you that advantage. Hopefully they'll be able to get the bigger crowd in for a better atmosphere, and then we'll take it from there. But that's why I then started looking into the fixture list. When they did finish in the Europa League where they did, they've got the 2 extra games to come in, and then you factor in they need to go away to Aberdeen, they've got Hibs to play in there, Kelly to play in there, Livy. It's a difficult place for them. Like, there's a lot of difficult fixtures within there, and it could be a good time for Rangers.
That was a long way, Michael, to say it was a good draw.
Yeah,
he's happy.
Excited. He's excited.
Listen,
I've been on a roller coaster all season. I've said it before, and there's not been a lot of good at the start. Now it's starting to pick up. You just have to enjoy it. Like,
last Monday, Al, I felt your bubble. Your bubble was a wee bit worse. I'm just wondering next Monday what you're going to be like. We'll see.
Darrell, see, that's the thing, right? Of course, I'm going to be positive, and Rangers
6 points. 6 points is going to be positive.
I've just tried to wind you up. I know this is a difficult week. I think if you come through the back of this, Rangers, and they have 6 points, wow, like that is a massive week. I also know it could go the opposite way. Like, you could easily, Motherwell could go and turn you over. And then Hearts, we know how well they've done against Old Firm this season. So I'm just trying to be happy. Do you know, I'm just trying to just enjoy it.
You think Rangers will get 6 points this week?
I said they could. I said they're capable.
I know, but when you were running through the results, you were like, yeah, come through Fir Park and then they'll beat Hearts at Ibrox. So
no, I said they're capable of doing it. I understand it can go both ways.
Alan,
they're more than capable.
I've heard you saying capable plenty, but you put your neck on the line and you said.
So let's flip it then. Hearts week. Let's talk about Hearts week.
Well, listen, we'll get to them. Okay, keep that in your mind, Al.
He's warming already. He doesn't want to answer.
We will get to that. You need to keep that up your sleeve, okay? I promise you. We will get to that. There's no doubt about it.
Take over, Darrell. Try to take over.
No. I'm delighted he's put the question out because maybe I hadn't thought of it. But we're going to come back to it because I want to talk Edinburgh Derby at the end of the programme, which is not too far away. With one more game to look at, played last night. Stenhousemuir, Falkirk. A derby, Michael. You said you were looking forward to it. I thought Stenny were superb at times in this game. What they limited Falkirk to throughout the 90 minutes as well. I thought their discipline, everything else. Gregor Buchanan maybe slightly fortunate in the game, but they didn't give Falkirk really much of a sniff. I know there was a double save early in the match, but beyond that, Falkirk, I think just, maybe similar to St Mirren on Friday, they wore the lower league opposition down.
Right. I mean, look, the job that Gary Naismith's doing at Stenhousemuir is top class. He's doing a brilliant job. And, I think that, I suppose from Stenny's perspective, it's they get into extra time. They've limited Falkirk. They'll probably be hoping and thinking that they've got, the chance of taking it to penalty kicks and then taking their chances there. But I thought eventually the goal from Brad Spencer was, cracking finish, having just missed a sitter not long before it. But it's a cracking goal to break the deadlock, and then all of a sudden, all that anxiety and the nervousness that's clearly been building up for Falkirk, it just disappears, and then they finish it off with the second, which is a really good free kick and a smart header as well. So in the end, it's a good tie for Falkirk. It was exciting, the fact it was the derby. Spencer comes up trumps, and then obviously Barney Stewart again scoring another goal. He's on a roll.
Yeah, I mean, look, they've got players that can do that in any day, and they've been so good to watch at times. But we've said of this season of all seasons, with Rangers playing Celtic, the way the cup draws open now, Falkirk fans must be excited. It's Dundee United or Spartans at home. Yeah. You're one game away, Alan, from the National Stadium in a semi-final. Yeah,
and they deserve it. They'll look at this as a real opportunity, as you rightly say, to go back to go to Hampden. And I just feel, even though they played well, I don't think they played bad. I just think that Stenny were set up to frustrate them and not allow them to create opportunities. And when I think Falkirk are at their best is when they transition really quickly. So if a team comes on to them, they get in behind them quick, they get down the sides and they create opportunities. And this was a kind of different way to find a win, and they've done it. So look, all the teams that are in there will fancy a run. Of course they will. And Falkirk, the way they've been playing this season, why shouldn't they? Next round they're at home. They'll feel positive about themselves.
Yeah, they will. Right, okay, just a quick reminder. Tomorrow night, Tuesday night, live in Premier Sports, the Edinburgh Derby, Hearts against Hibs. There's so much expectation. There's so much riding on this. Hibs fans desperate to stop Hearts this season. Anything but Hearts were in the league. That's what they want. The last derby, the way Hibs played in the game, Hearts playing the first derby the way they did, and the drama we saw there. Michael, it's just built up so nicely to this. It's a different Hibs as well. It does feel a bit like that with the new signings, the new players coming in from the last derby. But what a game for us to look forward to. Alan, do you want to ask that question again now?
So, Michael, a big week ahead for Hearts.
You can't get the words out.
I'm not excited. I'm that excited. It's a big week. How are they going to fare? Are they going to get 6 points?
I think if Hearts come out of this with 4 points, they'll be happy. 4 points, but I think they'll get 6.
Oh, wow. First time he's come off the fence.
What gives you the belief right now, Michael? You know, obviously last week against St Mirren, very unlucky with, well, I say not unlucky, but the way the game's played out, again, down to 10 men, it made it very difficult to win the match. But Derek McInnes was disappointed with the way they started anyway. Yeah. So what gives you the belief? There's new signings there, but there's still injuries. So where does that come from?
Just putting Alan on the back foot, that's all, really.
But do you genuinely believe it, though?
No, I mean, look, I think it falls into the category of they're capable. I mean, to sit here and predict that, you know...
So what I said then...
Oh, it's unreal.
To sit here and predict with definitive certainty, you can't, because the games are, you know, are very closely matched. Hibs have been... I mean, the first Derby game at Tynecastle, I thought Hibs were, you know, well, clearly they were more than well, they weren't more, but they were comfortably matching Hearts. It's a late goal
late drama,
from Falkirk that steals it. And then the game at Easter Road, it clearly was feeling like they needed a statement performance and result, and they did. They got it in the end. At home, it feels now like for Hearts that they've got to come up with a statement result, because as much as they're sitting 3 points clear at the top of the table, you know, the gap is closed. So they need to come up with a big performance and result. And when I'm saying if they get 4 points, they'll be happy. Obviously, if they draw against Hibs, then beat Rangers, then clearly that's going to be, you know, positive. They're going to be increasing their lead over Rangers. And if they beat Hibs and draw against Rangers, then likewise, I think they would take that at this moment. But
I said it's a different Hibs though, Michael, and it does feel very different. They've got new players in. However, think last midweek, new players making the difference. And I mentioned Dane Scarlett as well a week ago in the show. I've seen quite a lot of him in his young years and heard a lot about him too. I think he's a really shrewd signing. I know they've lost Kieran Bowie, but what they've replaced them with, I think it gives them different options. So well, it feels a different Hibs, but a good Hibs.
Yeah. Well, I mean, obviously, yes, I would agree with that. Time will tell, because we've said umpteen times this season that it's a good Hibs, but they've not followed it up with the results. So I would agree with you. Looking at like Kai Andrews when he came on early doors against Rangers, I thought he looked really good.
Excellent, yeah.
Likewise, when you're talking about Scarlett, the bits that I've seen of him seems like a really, you know, good bit of business. And Antti Suto, the front man who scored a really impressive header to win the game late on against Dundee United, again looks like another, certainly from, you know, the short few moments we've seen. But it does, especially with McGrath and Mulligan out against Dundee United, all these guys coming in, it felt like a bit of a different team. Obviously, Grant Hanley as well is now going to be out for a while. So it does almost feel like halfway through the season that it is a bit of a different Hibs. What are we going to see? I think it's too difficult to predict with Hibs, even with the squad being settled before. Now, with all these other players coming in, I mean, it's a great game for them to potentially be able to make a statement. But I just feel like for Hearts, there's a greater need to make a statement at home in particular.
Alan, how do you see it? How excited are you about this game?
I can't wait. Honestly, I'm really looking forward to it. I think there's so much on it in terms of Hibs and their support. They want to go there. They want to stop Hearts from winning this league. I mean, it's quite as simple as that. So they want to win. And Hearts, of course, I mean, look, I think the last meeting between them, Hibs looked really strong. Probably one of the best games I've had in terms of like 60, 65 minutes. And then Hearts, of course, come back in it because they're a good side. It will be a fresh Hibs side in terms of the new signings. They've brought in a decent number. I think for David Gray, it's been good that he's maybe not had a game there so he can train with the team.
And for both, maybe, yeah?
Yeah, of course. But I just feel like there's a lot of young boys as well that David Gray's brought in. So an opportunity for them to kind of bed in and get to know what he's actually wanting. But there's so much riding on it. And Mikey's right. I do feel, part of me feels that Hearts need a big statement win. They have to. I think if they don't win this, I mean, they're then going to Ibrox under severe pressure. So there's so much riding on this, and that's why I'm looking forward to it.
I feel as if I said this last time, Michael, but it feels like one of the biggest Edinburgh derbies in a long, long time. But I think every derby this season is going to feel like that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's just so many big games in general, because of there's so much riding on the games. But when you couple it with what is naturally a huge game anyway, it feeds into exactly what you're talking about, how it feels like one of the biggest in a long time. Really look forward to it as well, like Alan said, because it's going to have that extra little charge to it, because it's hugely important. I think from Hearts' perspective, and this goes back to what you were talking about with the players that Celtic have brought in.
Yeah.
As you, Chesnikov, have been, obviously, as you signed in the summer window, but he's not been able to have an impact. And Chesnikov, everyone knew that he was coming for such a long time. And we're now into the middle of February, and he's not had, any impact. He won a penalty against Falkirk, but, he's not really been able to show anything yet. So these guys need to get up to speed and fast. And if Hearts are able to get through this week with a minimum of 4 points, and then they've got Chesnikov and Aju starting to come into the fold, and then Shankland and Devlin are not far behind that. That could be the difference with Hearts making a genuine push at the title here, or just falling short. Because I think centre forwards is a big one. Kabori's not really doing it. He's not a Shankland.
A couple of games ago he was.
He's not a Shankland.
No.
He's not got the
Rogers Matto is still to be introduced as well.
Well, again, that goes into what we're saying before about the likes of Chesnikov and Aju being able to have the impact quickly. Yeah. I don't know enough about Rogers Matto to say, but he doesn't strike me as somebody that's going to be playing as a number 9. He's off the side.
Could be wider, yeah. So
I think Shankland is proving to be a big miss. Knew he was going to be important anyway, but he's a figurehead, he's a talisman, but his all-round play and his goals are,
just to lift that would give them as a team. Mm-hmm. Like him coming back into the fold, Devlin coming back into the fold, it just gives you that lift.
Yep.
But it's just such a big week.
I won't ask you the same question you asked Alan about the 11 to be named, but I wonder, do you think there'll be any surprises?
How about just ask him, Darrell?
Well, give us your starting 11 then, because even in goal, is there any question mark over who starts in goal? The way the goalkeepers have chopped and changed, who are you starting then against Hibs in the derby, Michael?
No, I think Shvolov will be in goals. I don't think he's going to change that. So no, I think he's in goals. That's who I think he'll go for.
And the rest of the team?
Oh, sorry, you want the rest of the team? I thought you were just wanting the goalkeeper.
Listen, I will sign off in a minute. We did go long last week, so let's go a wee bit shorter this week. But go on, give us your 1 to 11. Shvolov in goal.
The right back still, is a talking point. And if Nicky Cadden's playing, I wonder whether Derek McInnes in his mind might look to play Altena and force Cadden further back rather than being as a defensive, block. So I think he might.
On the front foot, yes.
Forget about what Derek, because I'm thinking, right, Altena. Centre half, Halkett is obviously. It's a red card, so it's kicked in straight away now?
Yes, he's out, isn't he?
Yes. Suspended,
aye, it's kicked in straight away. So,
Findlay and who?
I think he'll have to go. Well, it'll be Findlay, and I think he'll have to go with Frankie Kent. He could obviously play Steinbender, but he's not really played Steinbender. I think he'll go Kent, Findlay, Milne, midfield of Leonard, Beringame and McEntee and Kizaridis, Braga, and I'd need to see if there's anybody else potentially,
You don't think he'd throw in a spanner and play someone like Ajew and
well,
through the middle?
Do you know? I would. Possibly.
Would that be your selection?
But I don't know. It's difficult because I don't know how fit he is. But I would be mindful of it because of what I was saying about the Kabori. I'm not 100% sure on that. So that would be one position I'd be a little bit uncertain on.
Okay. Fair. We almost got an 11 there, Al. Almost out of him. Anyway, as I said, we ran long with Derek Ray, who was brilliant value last week, by the way. I have to say, all the information Derek brought to the programme was exceptional. So let's just leave you tonight with a few promos. Of course, we're looking forward to the Edinburgh Derby, which is live tomorrow night only in Premier Sports, but also other games on the horizon, including Scottish Cup games, fixtures to be named. You'll see Rangers v Celtic on Premier Sports. But we've also got in the league St Mirren against Motherwell, Saturday, 21st of February. And other new games, league games that have just been named last week. The Dundee Derby, which I always loved working at down the years. Dundee against Dundee United, that's Sunday, March the 15th. And I'm sure Alan will also be looking forward to Saturday, March the 21st. Rangers v Aberdeen. So many big games to come. Look forward to them all. Guys, enjoy the derby tomorrow night. Same to everyone at home as well. And we'll see you back in the social club next Monday. Bye for now.